What is going on, guys? It's the Budget Basshead. Welcome back to the channel. Right now, what I want to introduce to you guys is a dual enclosure that I picked up over at Skar Audio. This is the SK2X12V. Major mouthful there, so I'm going to just call it the SK2 for the duration of the video. This is something that I've been looking for a while. I was really in need of a prefab enclosure. Well, I'm not going to say I was in need of a prefab enclosure, but I really did want to get a dual enclosure set up going for you guys for testing purposes. And when I started to build this box, I kind of got lazy, to be honest with you, and I started wondering to myself, I've been building boxes for so long. How long, who out here, as far as companies, got a good prefab box? So, you know, traditionally prefab boxes have gotten bad names because basically they suck. A lot of them, they don't even do roundovers on their ports. But when I ran upon this one right here, it kind of shocked me at what you were getting for the price. I picked this up over at Skar Audio, so I'm not sponsored by Skar Audio, for 130 bucks, believe it or not. And you can see to the right of the screen right now that it has some pretty impressive dimensions and specifications, to be honest with you. We're gonna start off with some general stuff. This does fit a dual 12-inch setup. This is a vented enclosure. And yes, it did come with a sticker, as all Skar products does. It does come with a sticker. This thing actually is a gross box volume of 4 cubic foot, meaning that by being a by being a dual configuration for 212s, that means you have 2 cubic foot per subwoofer internally, and that's pretty impressive because a lot of, prefab manufacturers, they just don't give you the space that you need for these subwoofers to do what they need to do. 2 foot, to me, it should be a standard. I think it's pretty much a standard across the board for any 12-inch subwoofer worth its salt. But Skar did its due diligence here by not only giving you 2 cubic foot per sub, but they also tuned it at 32 hertz. Now, that is, I'm not going to say that's unheard of, but if you do any shopping around with these prefab boxes, you will see not only will they give you like a 5/8 MDF construction, but they tune them very, very high, like 38, 40 hertz, something crazy like that. But when you're putting subwoofers in here that got the capabilities, or it got F3 ratings of it has a resonant frequency of like 30 hertz, 32 hertz, 35 hertz. When you're selling subwoofers like that as a manufacturer, I just never understood why your prefab boxes tune at 38 hertz. I understand that that's something that's pretty good for like kick drums and stuff like that, but if you give me a subwoofer that's capable of 30 hertz, give me a box that can do the same thing. So yeah, this is not 5/8 MDF, this is 3/4 MDF. It got some premium black carpet on it. One thing that I did notice out of the box with mine is what you're looking at on the screen now. Skar did do his due diligences by covering it with plastic, but one thing I noticed when I unboxed it was the lack of support. It only gave you that flimsy piece of cardboard that I put on the table over here, and as a result of the lack of support on the inside, this is what happened. This corner right here, the packaging was obviously dropped at some point during shipping on this corner, and you see how loose it is right here. So yeah, Skar, you kind of get a thumb down from me with that. But me being who I am, I'm not complaining about it. After all, this thing got nice push terminals on it. It's not like the thing is flapping in the wind. It's pretty secured here, and I can fix it if I wanted to. But at this point, there's no need to be honest with you. But looking at some of the exteriors of the box, you do have a nice, what I consider a pretty nice terminal cup here with 8 gauge push terminals. I like that. Like I said, it has 3/4 inch MDF, black carpeting, premium black carpeting. This is not some felt that they put on there. This is real carpet. Like I said, push terminals, 8 gauge. You got the Skar stitching here, which is also another good sign. This is not spray painted on. It's actually a stitch work. So that's pretty cool to look at. But as you get around to the front, look at the Kerf. Could you believe that they not only Kerf this thing, but they actually put some sound dampening material inside of it for you. For 130 bucks, a dual chamber prefab enclosure like this, I think is a steal. And no, Skar did not reach out to me and pay me to say any of this stuff. I'm just calling it for what it is. I looked around at CT Sounds. I looked around at American Bass. I looked around at a lot of these other places, and Kicker was probably the only company that I seen that had a prefab box worth of salt. They had a 4 unit box that I don't need anything of that massively. But this thing definitely gets a thumb down when it comes to wiring. The pre-installed wiring on here, I think Skar should have just kept to itself. I think that's like 16 gauge or something. I don't know why they put like 8 gauge terminals on here. But here's a look at the port, in case you guys are wondering what that construction looks like. And yes, it does come with a bit of bracing on the inside as well. So yeah, I gotta say Skar did pretty good on this one. Better look at the port externally and internally. Pretty good job on carpeting as well, in my opinion. And like I said, the wiring that came with the box, I think they should have just saved their money with that wiring that they attached to it, and just, I don't know, maybe gave me a bit more premium of terminal cups. You know, if you want to do that, put some 5-way binding posts on there or something. Don't waste your money on stuff like what you did, Skar, if any of you guys are listening. But anyway, here we go, another look at the internals of it. Pretty good, man. I really have very little bad things to say about it, like I said, other than this wire here, and you know, the fact that I did get a slightly damaged unit. But me being a DIY guy is not that big of a deal, so I won't cry about it. But I will later on. Here's a look at the sound dampening material right here. Not that it's even required, to be honest with you, in a ported enclosure, but to see that it is here, you know, that's a plus for me. You know, like I said, I'm not really trying to beat nobody up or be too, you know, picky about it, but there it is. You got bracing, you got sound dampening, you got terminal cups, premium carpet for 130 bucks on a dual enclosure. I mean, a Kerf enclosure at that. It's supposed to be a universal fit as far as the cutouts. And if you guys are wondering, there's another look at the port right there, tuned to 32 hertz in case you guys have forgotten. The weight of this thing was about, well, the box said it was 58 pounds, but Skar listed it as being 63 and some change. But on an overall, just the quick once over of it, it gets my thumbs up. It gets my approval. And in case you guys are wondering, the back of it is slightly slanted here. It doesn't have as an aggressive slant to it as you would see in some truck boxes, but I think it will fit behind the seat pretty good. And there's another look at that stitching that I was telling you guys about earlier. And right here, what you guys are gonna see is a bit of a closer look to that terminal cup on the inside, because I'm just tripping on the fact that they gave us this little bitty wire here. So I'm like, what does this thing look like? You got 8 gauge push terminals on the outside, but what do you look like under the hood here? You know, because of these little bitty wires, I'm like, do they have spade terminals on the inside of this thing? Let's just check it out. And lo and behold, there they are. So you got spade terminals here, which is not, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You know, just get you some 8 gauge wire with spade terminals. And as you guys can see as well, They actually got this multi-lead type of fitting there that you can actually take that off and just put you a connector on there. Just take this crap off and just use that screw down right there with some 8 gauge terminals ending on your leads, and you should be fine with that. That's exactly what I'm going to do anyway. But enough of that. We're going to be moving on now to the test fit. I wanted to see what subs I already had that would actually fit into this thing. Starting out with my favorite of the group. If you guys hadn't seen the previous video to that, I kind of let you guys know that the XFL thus far is my favorite subwoofer of all the ones that I have of the entire 12-inch leaderboard. But as you guys can see here, it's not quite fitting in this Skar Audio box. So not very happy about that right now. And I'm thinking to myself initially, I'm like, well, just get a closer look of it. You can see that the surround, the rubber gasket here that American Bass have on the XFL is pretty beefy. I mean, this subwoofer is just beefy on an overall, to be honest with you. So I thought to myself, hey, if I can get this thing off of here, right, just take it off, maybe, you know, I'll have some luck with getting this thing in the box. So that's exactly what I did. As you guys can see, I took the gasket off of it, being careful, you know, with the leads and whatnot, because as you've seen in the previous shot, I nearly damaged the lead there where they connect to, where they are actually strapped to the basket. But yeah, once putting this thing back in here, I got the same exact result. It's just that the basket for the XFL is simply oversized. So no fit, and it's a no-go for the XFL. There's a way around this. I may show you guys this in a future video. All you have to do is just get an extra gasket, put it underneath it, and just seal that space. Look like you got about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 inch. So just get you like an inch worth of gasket. And yeah, I wasn't happy with that. Just get you about an inch worth of gasket and put underneath it, and give it an airtight seal. Not a big deal, but you know, having to make that modification gives it a thumb down for me. You know, the box itself I think is pretty cool, but XFL, you're making them too big, you know. So you got to make your custom enclosure for that, or cut this one out, which I'm not going to do. And there you go, Power Acoustic. Thank you for sticking to the script. You got a standard size sub, and it fitted in just fine. And what we have here is the SDR by Skar Audio, and we're gonna see if Skar's own product can fit in here. And of course it does, because they actually sell this as a kit on their website. The SDR can actually, these things can actually come preloaded with the SDRs installed, so I knew that they would fit. But I was kind of curious about the SVR, which is the next subwoofer that I'm going to test fit here. And I didn't expect too much of a difference, because the custom enclosure that I designed actually was designed around the EVL, and everything from the EVL down pretty much fit in my custom enclosure. So, you know, quite likely that they were going to fit in here as they do. I can't wait to see exactly what these guys sound like. Pretty cool stuff. And that gets the approval from the budget bass head. Moving on. Alright, so what you guys see here now, no, I'm not damaging the subwoofer. What I'm doing right now is I am taking a screwdriver and a hammer, and once I place the subwoofer exactly centered in that hole right there, what I did was I marked those holes with the screwdriver. The reason why I'm doing this is because the death of any good enclosure is always going to be baffle failure. The baffle of a subwoofer enclosure suffers so much because people are constantly, we as users are constantly changing out the subwoofers. If you got a good subwoofer enclosure, and you know is very doable and is made right, you're gonna probably be using it for a long period of time. And in my case, where I do a lot of tests with my subwoofer enclosures, I'm constantly changing them out. So what I'm gonna do is what I do with all my enclosures, and we're gonna put some wood inserts in it. These inserts are gonna be a permanent fit. I mean, a permanent solution for that. And there you go with the drill bit. So this is pretty much the hardware that you're gonna need to get this done. The only thing about it, whatever wood insert that you're using, just make sure you have the proper size drill bit, because if you make it too small, you're gonna end up ripping the hole and it's not gonna be any good. If you make it too big, the wood insert is not gonna fit at all. You're just gonna be wasted some space there. And here's the brand of wood inserts in case you guys are wondering. I picked those up at Amazon. Look in the description for a link to that. I got an affiliate link somewhere. So yeah, you got the wood insert, the screw that fits it. These are M5s, I believe. And there you go. That's what you're gonna need to make this work. But first you're gonna have to have the proper tools in order to do this. I never really start out with a drill bit this huge. You want to actually get you a pilot going, and as you guys can see, if you look around, you can see that the center of the only thing sticks outside of that drill bit are the threads themselves. That's what you want. You don't want to go bigger than the threads, okay? And that's what we're looking for right there. So you don't want to go bigger than the threads. You want to actually have it sticking outside of the threads to show, and that way it's going to be the same exact way for the inserting of it. And to make my pilot hose, I'm going to be using a 1/8 bit, and it's very simple. Just go with the indentions that I made earlier with the screwdriver, and that's what I'm going to be using to make my pilot hose. And in this case right here, my pilot hose are already inserted, and then I come with the 1/4 bit, and I just go all the way around with it. This is very, very important. This is a very, very important step. As you guys can see, I am using quite a bit of force with this, and the reason for that is because the carpet. It's sometimes hard to drill into carpet because it wants to bite and catch within the screwdriver or within the screw bit itself. So you got to kind of be forceful while trying to keep this thing as straight as possible. You don't want a crooked hole, or the wood inserts are going to be it's not going to be a good fit if you got a hole that's slanted. And this is going to be the drill bit that I'm going to use, because if you notice with the wood inserts, the wood inserts actually has a hex fitting on top, and I'm going to tell you why that's very, very important. And this is a H5. That's very important because that hole fits like this. Okay, it has two holes. One is for the screw and one is for the drill bit. So why do you need two holes? Of course you need one for the screw, because the screw is what you're gonna be securing whatever you're attaching to the pieces together with. In this case, it's gonna be the subwoofer, but these things was actually originally designed for like furniture and stuff like that. But in this case, we're gonna be the first hole is gonna be for the drill bit to get it into the wood. Okay, so it's recessed about 1/4 inch down. So this drill bit is going to go about 1/4 inch within the wood insert, within that wood insert, as you guys can see here, and it's going to screw off into the hole that I actually made. Okay, and that's how it's done. Very, very simple. My drill actually have a chuck on it, and it has a settings of strength from 1 to 10. I actually had to put mine all the way on 10, which kind of gives a testament to the tight fit of that bit. And as long as you just hand drill these things, you should be fine. Don't use a power drill to get your holes in, your screws in and out. Always use a screwdriver, a hand screwdriver. And right here, what I'm doing is just test fitting. Again, I'm using the SDR as a template because I know that all the other subwoofers that I'm going to be using actually fits the exact bolt diagram or bolt pattern as the SDR, the EV12, and all the other ones. They actually fit the same exact pattern. Now I know some of you guys may be scratching your head and asking yourself like, well, why wouldn't it fit the same exact pattern? Well, some manufacturers make their subwoofers a little bit bigger and a little bit different. Not all of them have the same bolt pattern. But as you guys can see, this is a success, and that's pretty much does it for this one here. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go on that one. And no, I don't have a demo of it right now, but I will be getting you guys a demo of this later on. I'm going to be making this a series. And if you guys are wondering exactly why did I even go out and get this subwoofer enclosure in the first place, it's because I wanted to actually do some testing. This is going to be my new test unit right here. And yes, I know I have the custom enclosure, but the custom enclosure that I built is it can only do one sub at a time. I actually wanted to give you guys some dual configurations with my test setup, and kind of like, instead of me taking subwoofers in and out of one box all the time, I kind of wanted to get it to a point where I can test both of them at the same time and let you guys see exactly what they sound like. Because behind the scenes, I know you guys don't know it, but some of these tests are actually done days apart. You know, so to have a setup like this right here, it kind of gives me that advantage to have two different subwoofers in there and actually turn one off and let you see what it sounds like, and turn the other one on and play both of them at the same time, let you guys see the flex of them, which one is more responsive and all that. So it's just me trying to bring you guys better quality, you know, in short. So just stick around for that, and I'm going to be trying to give you guys a bit more, like I said, quality. So stick around for that. Got more coming up, and that'll do it for this one. This is a video one of the review of the Skar Audio SK2. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below about this. Is this something that you would purchase? Do you think this was a good value at $130, or is this something that you would pass on? Leave your comments in the sections below, and until next time, it's your boy D, and I'm out.